Welcome into the Thunder basketball universe. We are live from the Thunder Ion, the practice facility, and that's because we've got a special guest joining us on the podcast today, the one, the only Jalen Williams, J-Dub, a true friend of the pod at this point. I think this is like
three or four at least,
times
yeah.
you've been on the podcast.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I mean,
since your rookie year.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'm happy to be back.
Thanks for being
Yeah,
here.
thanks for joining us.
Yeah, especially after a practice day. The team came back from Dallas, and we've got a lot to recap from this Dallas game. That was a wild game, even for us. We've watched a lot of basketball, too. So we'll get to that in a little bit. But first things first, we have a fun game that we want to play with you.
Okay.
It's called You Can Shai That Again. This is a regular segment on the podcast. We have a few quotes from your teammates and or coach, and you have to try to guess which of your teammates said it.
Okay.
All right, Nick.
Okay.
We'll kick it off with you.
All right. This quote is, if it's crowded, don't go.
Oh, that's Mark.
Oh, you would think.
You would think. It's good advice, but it's actually Case and Wallace talking about
I'd have never
talking about cutting.
I didn't even know Queso would have a quote on it.
You have to really strain to hear him talk. You know,
I was about to say, Queso said like 10 things this year. So.
Yeah.
I didn't think he'd have a quote.
But that's a good compliment to Casey, I think, to say really good wisdom, good insight. If it's crowded,
I
just
feel like
don't go.
I feel like that's a quote from Mark quoted by Queso.
That's a good rookie move also,
yeah.
by the way. Just what did the
smart.
coach say?
I've heard Mark say that before on a turnover I've had. If it's crowded, don't go.
Yeah.
That sounds like something Mark said. So
It's really good, just simple advice just to keep filed in the back of your head for a game. Okay, this one's kind of along the same lines. That might be too big of a hint. We'll see. He doesn't play with his tuxedo on.
That's Mark.
Yes,
Yeah, that's
yes.
a Mark thing.
That's
Yeah.
Mark.
Yeah.
Talking about Kaysen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Basically saying like he is not afraid to just.
He's gonna get dirty.
Yes, exactly.
All right. My next one is, the banging on the door was loud.
Ooh.
Oh, that's a good. I don't even think I know who that is.
The banging on the door was loud. Okay. You know what's hard about these is that Mark says this stuff. So it's not random. I'm going to say, I don't know why I'm thinking Chet would probably say that.
It was Mark, and it was about you.
Okay.
He was talking about being able to kind of amp up your usage, the amount that the ball was in your hand over the course of last season was, the banging on the door was loud. He was showing us that with more responsibility, with more minutes, with more, touches, he wasn't playing outside of himself. He wasn't getting outside of the team concept. It was very clear. The banging on the door is very loud that he could handle all this.
Okay.
So
yeah,
I've
heard it before.
We went to the vault for that one.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We did.
That was earlier this year. That was really good. Okay, this one is a little bit longer. It's the cherry on top. Not to take a charge and have to fall and hit the floor. I just get to block a shot and stay on my feet. It's fun. There's some. It could
a few
be,
candidates
I
here.
know.
Yeah.
There's a few candidates.
It
for
is
this one.
because K-Rich takes charges.
Yes.
That doesn't sound like something K-Rich would say, though, so I'm going to weed him out.
Okay.
Shai is anti-charge.
We've seen his block
He's
numbers this
and,
year.
and he has, and
Yeah,
his steals and
pro
block
steal.
numbers are solid. And then
Yes.
obviously J. Will takes the charges.
Mm-hmm. I'll give you another hint.
Okay.
This was recent.
Oh.
Like last week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Am I in the ballpark though with those?
Yeah.
three? Oh,
You're,
I'm gonna
you're in that zone. Yeah.
cherry on top. Ooh.
Think Lakers game.
Did J. Will take a charge in Lakers game?
You're gonna be so mad.
You are.
when you get this.
I'm gonna say Shai.
The answer is Isaiah Joe.
I would have never guessed that.
So
I would
he
have
had
never guessed
that
that.
big block on Anthony Davis in the Lakers game.
Oh, from behind.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
he ended up having 3 blocks in that game.
Okay.
And
yeah, I didn't know that.
we were just obviously like, we had no idea that Isaiah was out here blocking shots like that. Asked him about it in practice, and he was like, to be able to take a charge, but then also not have to fall on the floor, and I can actually block a shot. It's the cherry on top.
Yeah, and once again, Isaiah in the top 10 in charges taken so far this season. After I think he had 20 last year.
Yeah.
Is he really? Wow.
Yeah, he's got I think another
The
6 or
best of
7
both
so far
worlds.
this year. Yeah.
I know J. Will's not happy about that.
Yeah.
There's like a competition amongst the group.
Yeah, it's 3 of them. I won't be joining it.
Yeah.
Charges hurt. I don't.
The first day of training camp, Lou came over to talk to us, and he was bragging about how he took 2 charges in the first day of practice. He was like, I'm setting a new tone. Hasn't done one since. Yeah.
I'm on the stat sheet. I'm on the stat sheet early. Are these guys like taking charges in practice, like scrimmaging? Like you guys have to like look out?
No,
these
not.
charges?
You know what's funny? I actually took one on Josh today.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, but it was not in the paint. It was at the 3-point line, and they called the block. So
Dang.
I'm done.
You're done.
It was more just I was in the way, so I was like, let me take a charge. But
Okay.
we don't really take them in practice just because you don't want to like, hurt each other
That's fair.
for something in here. But yeah.
And probably at this stage of the season too. Maybe more in like training camp.
Yeah,
but
the
once
beginning.
we're into it,
Like the beginning, like training camp. Yeah, like when we're going,
Mhm.
like we're about to start playing. Yeah, for sure. It's like a regular game, but now it's kind of just at that point now.
Who made the block charge decision in practice? Who's calling fouls?
We had a ref today,
Okay.
and
Nice.
Nana.
And Nana.
It's really helps to have an objective third party
Yeah.
there, just
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
imagine with guys like Jay Will and Kenrich, like they're gonna call a charge every
A lot
time.
of debate. Yeah, a lot of debate. Yeah.
Exactly. All right. While we have you, J-Dub, we have to rewind 48 hours ago. We were all in Dallas, and that game was one of the most wild games I think we've ever been a part of. I imagine for you, that had to have been one of the most unique experiences. Just being able to look back on that game, what do you take from how that game unfolded?
I mean, there's a lot to probably pick apart, but I think the biggest thing that we talked about was just, just kind of being resilient. I think we did a good job of just kind of figuring out that regardless of the lead that we kind of smoked away, it's just more being able to kind of come back and combat being down 6, regardless of whatever happened in the game, kind of having that, we talk about the 0-0 mindset, like just focusing on the fact that we have 5 minutes left in the game and we're down however many points and just kind of chipped away from there. So obviously you don't want to give away, the 30-0 run or whatever. And that was, credit to them too, that you have to make shots and generate a good flow of offense to do that. And they did that. So we understood that and then just tried to play from there. And we did a good job of kind of playing back to that last 4 minutes and winning the game.
Yeah, and as we were talking about walking to the bus after the game, you guys had used all of your timeouts, 4:18 to go, and you guys could just play. And what was that like on the floor to be able to just go out and execute and realize you had to just get it done with the 5 of you that were out there?
I think to a certain extent it was kind of like freeing. It was like now it's just we got to go out and play and produce. We didn't have like a crutch or anything, so like no timeouts. We're kind of just out there just free flowing and figuring it out together. And that's just credit to us. We're such a close group. We kind of were able to just communicate and put a lot of pressure on Dallas to actually have to call some timeouts and kind of play the game as we wanted to. And we did a good job for that last 6 minutes or 4 minutes, I think it was. You
had the big time driving layup. And then you come up with the rebound and you let out this big yell. I'm just curious, like in that sequence, what are you saying anything out loud to the bench, to the crowd? Are you saying anything in your head as it's dawning on you like you guys have won this game?
Yeah, the rebound, I think I was just yelling like how I usually do. But I think everybody was just like, I distinctly remember telling Kenrich because he had just came in the huddle and said stick together, and I remember like repeating that a couple times. But he was kind of big in our huddles just from that perspective, telling us kind of stay with it and stick together. Kind of understanding that we're only down 6. It's not like you're fighting down 20 or. Because, the 30-0 run, it feels like the roof is about to fall off the place. It's probably the loudest arena we've had this year.
Yeah.
And, probably our biggest momentum switch. So, in that moment, it could definitely feel like you're down 20. But, 6 is, 2 threes, you're right back in the game. And, so that the end of the game was dope. We got to yell, and I think I headbutt Chet during the interview.
You did.
Just a bunch of stuff happened at the end. But it was cool to kind of, fight back.
Mark gave you guys a lot of credit for just staying present, like you're talking about. It could feel like you're down 30 in that moment, but you're just down 6. There's still 4 minutes left to go in that game. And you mentioned Kenrich being very vocal in that huddle. How big has he been in those sort of situations where, adversity's hitting, things are not going you all's way? What's Kenrich been like in those sort of situations?
He's like Unc. We call him Unc. He's like our OG, which is funny because he's 29, so he's not even like.
He's got 2 kids now.
Yeah. He is. Like for us, like that's miles down the road for me. So he's Unc to us, but he's just like a good like presence to have. I think he keeps us all kind of rooted in, what we want to do and just how to kind of like carry ourselves. So he's done a good job of that all year. He's kind of like our like voice of reason. Obviously when he speaks, he has gravity in what he's saying. So just trying to take a lot from him and, he's one of those guys where he's not gonna ask, like you to not do something, and he's not gonna do it. He plays extremely hard, and so he's just somebody everybody listens to, and he understands that. So he's smart too. So he just kind of has that gravity where everybody listens, and he knows what he's talking about.
You had mentioned Chet, and there was a good reason why you were headbutting him, because he was awesome in the last few minutes of that game. For a rookie, a rookie big man especially, there's so much responsibility on him to, what coverage he's supposed to be in on every possession, the communication. Can you just kind of put in perspective the way that he impacted the last 5 minutes of that game on both ends of the floor?
Yeah, just him the whole year, he's been great, especially because, for him coming into this year, it was our biggest things like, we need rim protection. And so he already has the weight of the world of him on that. And then there's a bunch of outside noise with how good is he going to be and all this stuff. So he's done a good job of combating that all. And then just the last stretch, he was huge. He was in almost every pick and roll action in regards to that early. And he cleaned up a lot of layups. We're kind of double Luka a lot at the end. And just they were making good plays off the dribble, but cleaning stuff up at the rim and rebounding for us the last 4 minutes was big time. So he did a great job.
Every time we see Chet, he has a basketball in his hands. Like Mark calls him a junkie. Just how much do you guys see that with him as well?
Yeah, he's a basketball junkie for sure. He always has a basketball in his hand. He's always dribbling the basketball. Eager to learn, so it's cool being around him because it makes you want to be like that too.
The other guy I wanted to ask you about is Shai. Like it's so easy to take for granted, like the 30-point scoring nights that he has just so casually every single night. Seems routine at this point. He also had 5 steals the other night in Dallas. Just like, what are you seeing from him? What's it like being on the floor with him defensively?
It was funny because like maybe a couple games before I was saying that he was stealing some of my steals because he had like 3 or 4 before, but I remember deflecting the pass and he picks them up. But he's a really underrated defender, especially on ball. So he's usually able to kind of steal them, and I think they kind of go under the radar because he has these big. Yeah. When you have 40, nobody else is really looking at the fact that he had 6 assists, 8 rebounds, stuff like that. So, he's been doing a good job for us defensively. He's not somebody that you can really switch into action and do that, and it's something that he takes pride in. And when that's your best player willing to play defense, I think everybody else can do it too.
Well, I think Mark noticed too, because he was like, Shai's getting a lot of steals, but it's a credit to our on-ball defenders, guys like Lou, Case, and you as well, for putting so much pressure on the ball that Shai can kind of thrive in that help defense area.
He can kind of be that safety, and it seems so fun that you guys can joke about that kind of stuff, and I think we know what you and Shai were joking about on the stat sheet the other night. We'll leave that a mystery to everybody.
There was a lot of looking at the stat sheet.
But it's just cool that, you guys all to a man talk about how y'all don't care about stats, and that you can joke about that stuff in the locker room too. Just I guess tell me about that atmosphere that you guys have around that stuff.
Well, that was my second time looking at it stat sheet ever. So I had no idea what I was looking at. So I was like I'll let everybody in on a little bit. I had no idea what PF meant. And I was player fouls, and then I think it's 18, but I was looking at the wrong thing on because the paper's small. So I'm I can't really see, it's all blending together.
Yeah.
So I was just trying to figure that out. I had no idea what that meant, and then after that, that'll be a mystery. But it's cool to be able to. It's cool to be able to talk. We can talk about anything in the locker room and have a good time. So it's always cool to, we have a free flowing kind of conversation in the locker room and just around the guys. So everybody's really comfortable with each other.
For context, it's not like the the box score that you see in your app on your whatever.
Yeah,
this is a very complicated
right. They're not headshots next to each guy where you can see.
Yeah, and Jay Williams, Williams, we're all bunched up together.
Williams,
there's
Wiggins, Wallace.
There's also a ton of different sections
12 different
stats.
columns. Yeah.
So that was new. Even college stats didn't have all that. So and I usually just went to points. So
you only went over one row.
Yeah, I know PT. So I was looking at that one. I was like, oh, nice. So but I was just trying to understand the thing. I've never looked at it.
You had mentioned earlier, in order to give up a 30-0 run, you had to have a 24-point lead, and there were so many things that went into that. But the one that I have to get your perspective on is Davis Bertans had 15 points on 3 shots. 3 shot attempps. Have you ever seen anything like that?
Yeah, he shot 1 3 where he was running. I thought he was going to run out of bounds and then just shot to turn out. Yeah, that was one of the craziest shots I've ever seen. But it's just that it's Isaiah had a game like that there too last year. I know Davis was there, so there's probably like a little extra motivation, playing with Dallas. But that was he was great for us yesterday too. So that's impressive. I don't know how he did that. What did he do? How do you do that?
He went 6 for 6 from the free throw line. So he got fouled twice on threes.
Yep, and then 3 for 3 from 3.
Yeah, and I was looking at it. I think he's
miss.
He's been fouled on a 3 now. I think 5 times this year in like 55 minutes played. So like every
it's because
every 10 minutes he's getting fouled on a 3. Like, he's like one of the leaders in the league in that.
Also had a steal, also had a rebound, also had an assist. Yeah. That was a really good game for Davis. Dub, I'm curious. We've talked to Shai a little bit about this, and he was saying that the guys are on you always. They're reminding you consistently about being more aggressive, putting your foot on the gas and looking for your opportunities. That's something we've heard from Coach Dagnall even back to your rookie year about, them nudging you to be more aggressive. Just what's that process been like for you, trying to, balance that functionality that you tend to play with, just within the flow of the offense to also going out there looking for your shot?
Yeah. I think the more I'm like figuring out about myself, like I know I'm really unselfish and I feel like sometimes I wouldn't say hurt the team, but it's just like, you can generate more stuff when I'm, being more aggressive. And I think they just kind of trust me and make the right play in that, that instant. But it just comes with, playing in the NBA longer and longer, like figuring out rotations and like where I'm going to be at. Yeah. And, we're still only like a quarter of the way into the season. So it's like there's so many more games and rotational stuff that we're trying to figure out. So, I'm just trying to be more aggressive, shoot more. I think that's the most I've ever shot in a game in general, like even in college. So
is that a little weird for you? Do you feel?
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, it could be worse things than shooting more for sure. But it's just more just trying to find more shots and hunt them a little more. And I think the team and the coaching staff has a lot of confidence in me to do that. So something I'm continuing to work on and figure out. But there could be worse things to work on than shooting more. So
yeah, I mean. It's so impressive just how efficient you've been with it, though. I mean, up above 50%. You're shooting a ridiculous percentage in the paint and around the rim. Why is it that you've been able to adapt so quickly to the rim protection in the NBA and the spacing and all of that? Do you attribute that to anything, either player development-wise or just natural gifts?
Both. In the summer, since we're not too far removed from it, it's just stuff that we're able to kind of work on. And that's credit to, I work with Maynard, so just being able to have him and go through film and figure out like what I need to do and like what my game is predicated towards. Like I've been able to really like kind of hone in on that, and then a lot of it's just dunking the ball.
That'll help.
Those are pretty. Not everybody can do that, but just kind of a lot of it too is like cuts. Like so, people are finding me on kind of easy layups. So when you're able to generate a lot of those. When I get some more difficult ones, I kind of have a cushion to be able to miss some percentage-wise. So, just kind of figuring out the flow of our offense. And, we do a good job of moving it, and then I'm able to find my spots within that as well.
You talked about, cuts. One of the biggest plays of that game against Dallas was your backdoor cut coming out of that final timeout. And, you guys had drawn up some ATO plays in the previous timeouts. What was different about either that play design or the way that you executed that to be able to kind of take the pressure off and just get a bucket and get a really easy bucket?
Coach put Shai and Chet in a pick and roll. Who brought it up? I think I did, actually.
You brought it up.
Yeah, I did. Mm-hmm. The play was designed for Shai and Chet to kind of be in that two-man action to have, Zay was shooting gravity up there. And I'm just kind of reading the floor. I saw Zay's man run up there, and they're so worried about Chet, who's in that short roll, and they're doubling Shai. Just kind of run into the rim. Nice. But it is a read. Like, you're looking at, who stops. Because if somebody takes me, Zay gets a 3. So a lot of it, too, is Zay shooting gravity pulls guys higher up the floor. So I'm able to kind of backdoor a lot more. So, it's just like a read and react thing. Coach, I think the last 4 minutes really put us in a lot of good sets and just kind of had us ready for Shai to be doubled and do that.
Obviously, that was just a much needed bucket for you guys in that moment. Just when you're out there, you get it easy, a look like that. That's kind of a big momentum swing. How does that feel for you guys out there on the floor? Is it like relief, or is it more of just like, all right, we saw the ball go through the hoop. let's go.
That game, it was definitely like,
Yeah.
we haven't scored in a long time. so,
Right.
so that was good. And I think Isaiah hit a 3 right after that
Yeah.
in transition. So it was like everything started to flow back into normal. They finally missed a 3.
Yeah.
Or I think Chet got a block, actually. And Zay ended up getting a 3. So now we're kind of getting our confidence back and stuff like that. And I think that dunk was when everybody kind of realized, okay, it's like 4 points.
It's okay. We're fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
4 points, and we have a lot of time.
Yeah.
You had just sort of mentioned like the confusion that can happen when you've got guys moving like that with Isaiah's gravity and whatnot. There's been a lot of conversation about maybe one of the things that you all as a team are on the forefront in the NBA of is all this guard-to-guard screening action that you guys are doing. What's that been like on the floor to see how opponents are reacting to that or not reacting well to that as you're kind of putting something new forward?
I think a lot of that only works when you have guys that are willing to screen for each other. It's hard to tell a guard just in general to go screen and roll to put pressure on the rim.
Right.
Like even for me, that was an adjustment coming here, even just playing the 4 sometimes, like, hey, just roll. But I think everybody wants the team to win, so everybody's kind of doing whatever it takes. So guys will give up a cut for somebody to be open. Guys are willing to be aggressive or go set a screen for their guy to kind of get mismatches that we want. So I think everybody kind of has like a big willingness to be able to kind of get off the ball or, kind of set somebody else up. And, it allows, our guys who are extremely talented to kind of flow in and find, themselves within the offense.
To your point, though, it's a leap of faith for guys who are coming into the NBA who have done things a certain way their entire career, and it's gotten them to this point to suddenly buy into doing something that they've never done before. What is it about either the way that Mark or the coaching staff or the front office or whoever has like communicated this that it has been, easy for guys to lean into that natural desire just to win and to do what it takes?
Yeah. I think, they do a good job of like picking winners and, however that may be, trades, drafts. I think everybody kind of has one common goal. Like everybody is so competitive, we want to win. And I think when you have success doing something a right way, it's obviously easier to buy in. And I think guys are getting more and more comfortable with that. And I think when everybody can kind of see the vision from buying in, it makes it more fun to kind of play with it. And, I think it generates easy buckets too, which is kind of the best thing. Just with how I'm learning the NBA, you're going to have to score a couple tough ones, but the more easier ones you can get, it definitely helps out.
The other thing that I wanted to talk to you about is the defensive assignments you've had this season.
Yeah.
Not new, right? We've seen you guard bigger players.
Yeah.
And I've got another fun quote from you. It's from Mark. I'll just give you the answer. His versatility is a joke. That was a quote from Mark earlier this season, basically talking about how your defensive range to be able to guard guys like Victor Wembanyama, Giannis Antetokounmpo, LeBron James, Karl Anthony Towns, but then also like who did you have? Donovan Mitchell one night. Like that defensive versatility is so valuable. How have you felt yourself grow in that area? And is it fun at this point now to be able to, go out there and guard just about anybody on the floor?
Yeah. I think it's like a flex, I guess. Like you can kind of go out there and just I think it takes pressure off Lou, with those things. And I was obviously talking about Shai being out there and Queso gives us another look. Giddey's been really good in our rotations. And obviously now we have Chet, kind of at the back rim. And then, you get our secondary group, which Kenrich, having him back is huge. And so there's a lot of guys that are willing to guard. So it's not just like me going out there and, I'm locking up LeBron or whatever. Yeah. It's like, it's a group effort of guys showing a wall and showing crowds to different dudes. But that gives me a lot more confidence to do what I'm like capable of and be up there and kind of give Lou a lot of support. He's running around there with Dame one night and Curry. So, it just makes it easier when I have a group behind me. And then, it's something that I put a lot of effort into the summer too, just kind of studying different guys and obviously getting my body ready to be able to kind of have that different range of who I'm guarding. And I'm competitive, so I like guarding everybody. So
it wasn't just a strength thing for you this offseason. It was also kind of, just watching more, and studying more guys too. Yeah, and just I wouldn't even say like watching. I did watch a lot of player personnel, but just like understanding the way the game's officiated, understanding like clock and when to give a foul, certain, just kind of certain stuff you can kind of get away with defensively. And, year one, you kind of have the rookie treatment too, so you got to like be a little more hands off. This year, they give you a little more leniency. So it's just learning the game as well and kind of just being more and more comfortable being out there.
It seems like you guys can make sure you have some combination of, you, Lou, Kaysen, Kenrich, 2 of the 4 of you on the floor at the same time. And it was reminding me of, there's like a famous gif of LeBron at the free throw line, and he looks back, Kawhi starts checking in, he's like, dang.
Yeah.
And I wonder if you guys are getting those reactions this year from mainline guys when you're like, dang, okay, all right, J-Dub's checking out, but Kaysen's coming in.
Right.
Like, dang, yeah.
Lou's checking out. Here comes Kenrich.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I hope we get that recognition. I think teams kind of see it too. You know, when you're able to switch and not really be able to pick out mismatches, which is what the NBA game is kind of built on, I think it really helps us.
It's been really fun to watch for sure, especially on the defensive end, seeing you guys be able to switch just about anything out there on the floor. And then the versatility of the rim protection has been one of my favorite things to talk about. Yeah. You've got Chet with the air attack. He's going to block shots, but then you sub in J. Will, and he's going to take charge. Exactly. The rim protection has been so fun to watch. Yeah. Last thing before we let you go, looking ahead to the rest of this week, finally know who you guys are playing this week.
Yeah.
How interesting was that for you guys?
I found out yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
on the schedule, it's just a big gap.
Right.
I think.
Exactly.
So
we have 8 days off. Like, what is this?
What's happening?
Just gonna go home.
I had to explain that to my family. They were like, "Can you come visit us?" Like, no, there will be games. I promise. So you guys are gonna hit the road. You're gonna go to Houston on Wednesday. You're gonna play Houston on Wednesday, and then host Golden State on Friday. Just as you look ahead to this Houston team this season, I know you guys probably haven't gotten too deep into the scout, but with the basketball that you've been watching, just what's kind of the big, mindset for you guys? You've been really good on the road this season going into an arena like Houston and a team who's been doing pretty well this year.
Yeah, they've been playing really well at home, so that's definitely something that we'll, keep in mind. I think the biggest thing for us is just our starts. Especially just in the past, like we haven't really started well in Houston, so I think kind of getting that under control will be good. I think we've been playing really well on the road, and we've been playing well in general, kind of trusting each other playing. So I don't think it would be too much. Obviously, there will be schemes involved, but I don't think it'll be too much of like a complete game change. Yeah. As far as, how we want to play and what we want to get done. But yeah, our start is going to be kind of crucial, especially them at home playing well. Like that'll be a good test.
And you guys got to be about tired of seeing Golden State and vice versa. I mean, 4 times before the first week of December is crazy.
Yeah, that is nuts, especially because we were there. We played them back to back while we were there too. So I actually thought that when I seen the schedule, I thought it was fake because I was like, "Are you playing them again?" Right?
I've already played them so many times.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
So good week of Thunder basketball.
Yeah, definitely. Well, J-Dub, we really appreciate you taking the time to join the podcast again.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
True friend of the pod. Yes. All right, thanks so much for joining us, and thank you so much for watching and listening. Be sure to like, rate, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you so much to our producer Matt Bishop, and until next time, Thunder up. And catch you later.